Executives for their reaction to Sternhu's trial so far. And as we heard from Australia's Foreign Minister, the sentencing seems a bit harsh, but what's been the reaction on the ground at this meeting?
Well, if there was one concern, it was about the lack of transparency over the trial. That said, most of the people I spoke to said that this seems to be an individual case. If laws have been broken, then punishment is required. And as for future deals between Australia and China, well, Australian mines, they need funding, they need customers, and China has both of those.
In the last 18 months, we've sold $500 million worth of tenements and mines to China.
We did a $10 million capital raising through some Chinese investors. One of those investors has come on the board of the company.
The same day that Sternhu was sentenced, other Australian mining executives were meeting here in Hong Kong to discuss how to continue selling to China and raising investment there. The reason being the view that economics trumps politics. Australia accounted for almost half of China's imports of iron ore last year. That and other commodities such as coal, zinc and uranium helped Australia avoid a recession during the global financial crisis. Meanwhile, Chinese steelmakers have invested in at least 20 mid-cap Australian miners to reduce dependence on multinationals BHP Billiton and Rio Tinto. One man who's been there before is longtime mining magnate Ron Manners.
We were rescued by Japan in exactly the same way, late 50s, early 60s, and it made all the difference to the whole Australian economy. It lifted the economy, and it stayed lifted for some time. We're going through that same phase again.
If the lift is to remain this time, politicians like Barnaby Joyce may have to be overcome. He helped scupper Rio's $20 billion asset sale to China last year, and in December was promoted to opposition finance minister.
Both Chinese companies are...
Oh, it's ridiculous. I mean, there's no way that capital flow in Australia can sustain the capital that's needed to get these mines up and going. I mean, we were a market cap of $30 million. How could we raise $2 billion to get our mine up and running?
He's got a reason for this supreme patriotic streak, but I think we can exist in a world without barriers.
Manners may have his way. Australia's Foreign Investment Review Board says it approves the vast majority of Chinese deals, which means commodity producers and consumers will keep meeting to shake hands.
And that's the bottom line, Susan. It's all about the money, and although there's these miners are telling me you've got to be careful in China, but you've got to be careful anywhere. They've been in places in Africa or South America where people turn up with guns because they don't like what's going on. So watch out, don't bribe, and the deals can be done.
Don't bribe. Is that the lesson learned here?
That was what one of them told me. He said, we do not do that.
Okay, thank you for that, Paul. And don't forget, Rio Tinto is launching its own investigation into its China operations. Okay, so we have the Rio Tinto trial making news on the mainland. There's also a fresh spin today on the other big story that we've been following on the mainland in China, and that is Google's withdrawal. Google says its mobile services are now being partially blocked in China, and that problem began yesterday. Google says it's not sure if it's connected to the recent closure of its search engine on the mainland because, of course, Google has been redirecting users of its Chinese search now here to Hong Kong, where it doesn't have to censor and filter those results. All right, let's get to the top auto news this morning so far. And we have more recalls, this time coming from Nissan. And the car maker has notified U.S. safety regulators that airbags in its Pathfinder and Xterra models might not deploy correctly. And parts fastening the steering column could also come out, which is increasing the chance of collisions. And those Nissan recalls will start next month.